very simple and easy sling bow out of this orange PVC electrical conduit here. You can also use standard PVC. I'm just using this electrical conduit because it's thicker. Here are the dimensions for it so that you can buy it at the hardware store. It's very cheap, comes in a 4-meter length for about $5. Okay, so first we're just going to mark 25 centimeters on the PVC. Now I'm just going to cut it with these electrical conduit cutters. You can also use a hacksaw, whatever you have that can cut plastic. Okay, so now I'm just going to mark 8 centimeters on the PVC, and we're just going to cut down the middle until we reach the 8 centimeter mark. Okay, so now you're just going to need a heat gun. I bought this for $20 at the hardware store, or you can use a stove top. You just need to heat it up enough till it gets nice and floppy. As you can see, this is ready for molding. It's nice and floppy. Okay, so now for molding it, you just want to put on a pair of gloves and you want to bend it into a W shape. Okay, just like I'm doing here, as you can see, and now you just want to hold it until it cools down. So once the PVC is cooled down, as you can see, it's very hard, and I'm just going to be attaching some of these exercise bands that you can see. They have a 50-pound draw weight. They're very strong and they're great for this sling bow. I'm going to cut them at 25 centimeters long because that's the draw length of my arm. Okay, so now I'm just going to drill holes in each side of the forks, as you can see. Okay, so now all I'm going to do is get some of this cord I have lying around and some elastic bands. I'm going to tie a knot in a piece of cord, thread it through the hole in the fork, and I'm just going to tie another knot. Okay, so I've done the same thing on both sides. Now for attaching the bands, all you want to do is press the knot firmly into the middle of the rubber bands and then push it in about 1 centimeter in with a screwdriver. Okay, so now I'm just going to cut an elastic band down the middle and I'm just going to wrap it around and around the end of the rubber. This is creating a tourniquet and it's going to pull very tightly on the rubber bands, holding them in place when you draw back. Okay, so I'm just going to finish it off with a half hitch knot, and that's going to hold the rubber band in place. Now you just want to cut off the excess. Okay, so I've done the same thing on both sides. It's a very strong system. Okay, so now I'm just going to cut a piece of rope with 2 knots in each side of it. This piece is about 9 centimeters long. Remember to melt the ends of your knots. This is going to stop them from undoing, and the sling bow will pretty much never come apart as long as you do it like this. Okay, so I'm just going to put the 2 knots into each end of the exercise bands, and we're going to use the same tourniquet system as we did for attaching the bands to the forks. Okay, so now we're just going to cut off the excess. Alright, so now I'm just going to tie a D-loop. If you don't know how to tie a D-loop, there's plenty of tutorials already available on YouTube. I'm just going to show you quickly in fast motion. So basically a D-loop is just pretty much 2 knots tied on the rope. These knots are actually called clove hitches, and it creates a little loop that looks like a D. And of course you want to melt each end of your knots, because a D-loop is something you definitely don't want undoing when you're drawing back any sort of bow. Okay, so now as you can see, your arrow nock fits in between the two clove hitch knots, and then you can attach a manual release aid that you can buy from an archery shop or online. If you don't have a release aid, or if you can't afford one, or there's none in your area, then what you can do is just simply take a piece of rope, tie lots and lots of knots in it, all bunched up together. Okay, now you just want to tie that around your D-loop. Okay, so now as you can see, when the notch is in, you've got something to grip onto so you can pull it back and release, and it's not just going to slip out of your fingers. Okay, so it's pretty much ready, and let's give it a test shot. Alright, so I'm just going to have a test shot here. We've got the arrow notched in, and we'll just see what it can do. Clip on the archery release, and fire. Okay guys, so now I'm just going to spray paint it black. Okay, so I've also wrapped the handle in this army cord, and if you are doing that, make sure you leave a little bit at the bottom so you can attach this fishing rig. This fishing rig tutorial will be in a new video, so make sure you subscribe to my channel.